new Senate report shows federal agencies that are responsible for protecting the data and safety of Americans failed to implement basic defenses against cyber attacks. The report notes several U.S. agencies are using outdated systems, failing to protect personal data, and even ignoring mandatory security patches. Joining me right now is California Congressman and House Armed Services Oversight and Agriculture Committee member Khanna. Congressman, it's great to have you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for focusing on this issue. This is so critical as so many foreign adversaries are trying to steal our data. What can you tell us about these failures and what went wrong?
Maria, I couldn't agree with you more. We need a Manhattan Project in this country to defend ourselves against cyber attacks. I mean, the reality is that the Defense Department can defend us in terms of the most sensitive weapons, in terms of our nuclear weapons, but there are many government agencies that are susceptible to attacks. A lot of our critical infrastructure is susceptible to attacks. I was proud to work with Representative Nancy Mace in a bipartisan way to say, as a start, let's get the best cyber professionals into the federal government and rotate them through the agencies so we have a standard uniform defense and approach to this problem.
Yeah, I like that idea. The problem is the adversaries are also getting the best of the best, right? I mean, we spoke with the chairman and CEO of J.P. Morgan earlier this week. Jamie Dimon was my special guest, and we were talking about China as he has gotten the proper licenses to expand J.P. Morgan in China. And he said, look, data sharing is a real issue, but we do not share our data with the Chinese government. It becomes very complex because every country is talking about whose data sits where and who owns the data. Let me ask you, Congressman, if an American financial services company is operating out of China, how easy is it for the CCP to get the data of a company that has its operations in China?
Maria, unfortunately, they are susceptible, and there are things that we can do to help make them more secure. First, we need to invest far more in this country in software verification. That is something that can help make software not susceptible to these kind of attacks and hacks. Second, a lot of the software that comes, people have the default privacy settings off. We ought to require that those default settings actually ought to have privacy standards. And third, we need to have standards for protection for the private sector like we do for our most sensitive military. So I think what we really need is a comprehensive approach, like I said, a Manhattan Project, because right now many of our most sensitive financial institutions and our critical infrastructure are very vulnerable.
Do you worry that, you know, the saying, once the camel's nose is under the tent, do you worry that once the CCP has access to J.P. Morgan China data, and I'm only using this as an example, there are a lot of other American companies in China, like Goldman Sachs, American Express, also got the proper licenses, among others. But do you worry that they are going to be able to see the other clients at that bank across the world and get access to U.S. client data as well?
Sure. And I worry not just about companies that have physically located data in China, but you can, as you know, hack across the border. And the United States, we're a free country. So we don't, unlike China that literally monitors and censors the internet and doesn't allow information in, we don't do that. And we can't do that. We can't stop all information or all individuals from coming into our shores. And so we, as a free democracy, are more susceptible. And the only way we can really protect ourselves is to have the kind of cybersecurity that we do have for our nuclear technology, for our more sensitive military technology, expanded for our critical infrastructure and with the private sector. I believe our Defense Department actually has done an extraordinary job to protect us, our most sensitive information, our most advanced weaponry, but we need that same kind of diligence more broadly.